Hi friends, welcome to a brand new series on this channel. So in this series we are going to discuss about the software test automation. This is the first video tutorial in this series, and in this video we are going to cover these main points. So first I'm going to give you an introduction about test automation. In this topic I will tell you why software testing is important, and why test automation is important in Agile, and how automation testing beats manual testing, also the benefit of test automation. And then secondly I will discuss about the test automation process. So in that part I will highlight some of the commercial tools and the open source test automation tools, and also I will talk you about the frameworks that we can use for the test automation. So first let's see why software testing is important. Actually, some people thinks that software testing is not necessary. So I can give you 4 reasons. The first one is no software is bug free. The software testing is done to figure out the defect and errors that were made during the development phase. And the second one is the software testing verifies if the user can work with the application easily, and it ensures that the end product satisfies the business needs. Third one is it is also important to ensure that the application will not result into failure, because it can be very expensive in the future or in the later stage of the development if it is failed while running in the production. So conducting software testing for any project can save client money in the long run. So finally, the ultimate goal of any business owner is to give the best satisfaction. To ensure that satisfaction, we need to test the software application. So next I move on to the test automation in Agile environment. So we know the Agile is a set of values and principles, so we can't really just go Agile. So we use Agile framework like Scrum in our projects to help start thinking in more Agile way and practice building Agile principle. So the software requirements, goals and situations are always changing. Scrum embraces those changes. So we know with Scrum, a project is built in a series of iterations called sprint. Short iteration make it possible to reduce the risk and cost, and it increases speed to the production or market, and we can see the value quicker. To achieve this process, Agile has concept called continuous integration, continuous development, and the continuous deployment in each sprint. The issue is we cannot do the continuous deployment without the testing. Normally, the sprint are around 15 days. With every sprint, new features or bug fixes are added to the application, and then the tester need to check whether the newly added things are not impacting to the existing functionality. With so many features, it becomes very hard to test manually because of the low sprint duration. We cannot test our whole application. So this is where the test automation comes into the picture. Okay, so let's see how automation testing beats manual testing. In software testing, we can use manual testing or automation testing for functional test cases. So as the name suggests, the manual testing is performed by a human sitting in front of a computer and carefully executing the test step. So in this slide you can see a guy. He's a manual tester working in Agile way, and he is in active sprint. It has 15 days. Imagine his team is developing a new ERP system. So the developer of the team add new features and do bug fixing in their separate Git branches. And end of the day, they commit their updates to the master branch, and then the tester get new pull or clone from the master branch and start the testing. So for an example, if he got one bug fix or feature added today, he start test that newly added feature or bug fix. is not impacting to the existing functionality. We call actually that type of testing as regression testing. But there's an issue. The issue is if we got 10 bug fixes or the features during these 15 days, the tester need to test his regression test 10 times manually. So this repetitive manual test execution can get boring and it's very time consuming. So we have to hire more resources if we need to test it quickly. So it's performed by a human, so there's a tendency to make mistakes, and it is also not support for the batch execution. So that's why actually we need test automation. Normally the test automation like a backbone to agile software development. So next we are going to look at how to select the test cases for our test automation. So normally we cannot do 100% of test automation in any project. So we need to select automatable test cases. We select the test cases that are executed repeatedly, tests that tend to cause human errors, and the test that takes a lot of times and effort when doing the manual testing, and the business critical test cases. And we not automate test cases that are newly designed and not executed manually at least once, and the test cases which the requirement are changing frequently. So let's see what this test automation is. So test automation means using an automation tool or framework execute our test case suite or the manual test cases. So here you can see the guy is in happy mood now because he has automated his regression test suite. So when he got a new bug fixes or any feature added, he just click run button. Then the automation tool automatically execute test cases. It generate the detailed test report. Then we can see the result whether it is fail or pass. So I will show you how it works in the last part of this session. So this is the beauty of test automation. So next we are going to look at the benefit of test automation. The first one is it saves time and cost. Initially we have to put some effort to write test automation script, but when we execute it takes only few minutes. But the manual testing takes more time than automation. So it's a very major benefit that we can get from this test automation. And the second one is the wider test coverage of application features. So as I said earlier, the test automation save our time, so we can use that time to expand our test coverage. And the next one is the reliable end result. And also we don't need human intervention while test execution. So we don't need to wait till the execution is finished. We can go home and the next day we can see the test report whether it is fast or fail. And the next one is the automation not need many human resources, QA engineers. We can do it by a few human resources after creating a regression or the automation test suite. And the next one is the reusability of automation test. So normally when we creating an automation test suite, we create preconditions automation test cases. So that kind of test cases we called as reusable components. And the next one is the early detection of defects. Automation is faster than the manual testing, so we can detect defect earlier, and automation help to find more bugs compared to human testing. So now I'm going to like to move on to the test automation process. So in here you can see the step of test automation process. The first we need to do the test tool selection and the POC. So once it is completed, we need to define the scope of the test automation. So then need to write test automation script using the framework or tool. And finally, we need to do the maintenance of automation test cases. So next, I will briefly discuss about the test automation tools and frameworks that we can use for the automation process. So there are many test automation tools in the market. Some of them are commercial and some of them are open source. If we use commercial tools, we have to pay their license cost. So those are very expensive and cannot customizable. So however, the open source tools are more scalable and customizable. So in this series, I'm using open source tools to create a test automation framework. So it saves that license cost. So these are the test automation tools that I'm going to use in this series. The first one is Selenium. Selenium is an open source web automation tool. It's not just a single tool, it has 4 components. The first component is Selenium RC or remote controller. It's actually a previous version, and the WebDriver is the successor of the remote controller. And the second one is Selenium WebDriver. Normally we are using Selenium WebDriver for our automation process. And the third one is Selenium IDE. It's a very small tool, small IDE. We can record automation steps by using this Selenium IDE. And the fourth one is Selenium Grid. Normally Selenium Grid we use to the parallel test execution. So the next tool is Appium. Appium is also an open source tool for automate mobile application. By using Appium we can automate any type of mobile application, a native, hybrid, mobile, web, responsive website, or any kind of mobile application or platform we can test by using Appium. Appium actually work as an client server architecture base, so it support all mobile platform, Android and iOS. And the next one is Sikuli. Sikuli can automate anything that we can see on our screen because it's based on the image recognition libraries. Normally it identify and control the GUI component by using images. We can use Sikuli to automate desktop application. So next we are going to look at the frameworks in automation. Actually, a framework is a set of automation guidelines which help is maintaining the consistency of testing, less maintenance of codes, and improves the reusability. So we know in software development also there are a lot of frameworks like Spring Boot, Happy.js, Express.js, Django like frameworks. So in software automation side also we have different kind of frameworks. So there are 4 type of frameworks used in software automation testing. The first one is the data driven automation frameworks, and the second one is the keyword driven, third one is the module automation, and the fourth one is the hybrid automation frameworks. The hybrid automation framework is a combination of these first 3 frameworks. So in this series we are going to create an hybrid automation frameworks by using that tools. So that's it for this video tutorial. See you in the next tutorial, and in the next session we are going to discuss about how to create an automation framework by using these tools. So thanks for watching guys. Please subscribe my channel.